Recording in progress.
All right. Yes, Andrea, go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this session. So actually, the course has been so good, and it's more practical, like you said. Like for us that we don't have a business and we are still hoping to have one, it's more like it's a little bit difficult for us to get along, especially when we have to do the assignments and all of that. So I wish to ask a question on business validation idea, with a point like one of the points which states is the purchase one time, reoccurring, or periodic. For me, I will just use the example of the business idea I have to present it so that it's more understandable. Because the business I intend to run is like a home care service where actually we can have nurses taking care of patients at home, carers doing basic tasks, maybe physiotherapists and all of that. So it's going to be health services where you offer them back at home. So one of the problems I had with validating the business idea is the fact that, for example, someone that has maybe an accident for a short period of time, and he or she just needs help with a basic assistance at that time. Subsequently, when that person is healed, actually you won't have to offer any service to that person. So that is already a way of saying that the service is already limited at that point in time. And also,
now hold on. Let me interject there. Now, there are some businesses that it is the industry that will help you to understand the future of that business. Now, you are in healthcare, and one thing that you can agree with humanity is that, number one, people will always have accidents. As far as anywhere you see a human being, there will always be human errors. And as long as there are human errors, there will always be accidents. And when people have accidents and you provide that home healthcare service, you will always be in business. So sometimes it can be a one-time purchase for one person, but it may not be a one-time purchase in the whole community or in the whole area where you operate your business. You get a difference? So again, people always be sick. People always have headaches and funny sicknesses. Some people go to the hospital and they'll be discharged and they will need to stay at home on bed rest for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So in this kind of business, one of your goals is to make sure that you keep increasing the quality of your awareness in the community. Because the more people know you, the more they will always need your services. Because one thing is guaranteed, that in the industry where you operate, problems and pain points, because every good business exists to solve a problem and a pain point. So it is already guaranteed that for industry where your business operates, those problems and those challenges will always exist. So your goal now is, how can you position yourself as a business person, as a business owner, in a way that people can always find you easily anytime that pain point arises in their family or in that particular community. So it's not really, it can be a one-time purchase for one person, but looking at the market you're targeting and the industry you operate, it will not be a one-time purchase.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other question? Good. For those who are joining in right now, you're welcome. We're doing it two ways. If you have a question, you can raise up your hand. If you're aware you can talk and there'll be no noise and your network is good, you can ask your question by talking. But if you're aware you cannot talk, you can just text your question in the chat box. I will read it out and I will respond as soon as possible. Yes, Kendria.
Yes, so it's all right, because the main problem was was coming from this. Because from now, if I'm able to answer this question, then definitely the next question I was supposed to follow was how I'm going to be able to cope with having the staffs paid and every other thing. So since you've explained this, then I can walk around it and it will be easy for me to get the points. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes. So just do the ripple effects and get more people to know you, get more people to trust your brand, and you will always be in business. All right, let's get to Mr. Ben Rollins.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yeah, for the opportunity. And also, before I even go forward with my question, I think the training has actually been very enlightening for me. The assignment, and one thing which got me even more active was my social media presence, particularly the one for LinkedIn. I took some steps and I've been working on that. I think at least within 2 weeks, at least I post on some of the activities I do. That
Awesome. That's
for
good.
me is remarkable. Yeah, because the comments, the connections I've had, I mean, even the engagement in my comments on LinkedIn, I mean, for me, it's been really wonderful. Now, here is my question. One of my question goes with the challenge. One from the first class, one of the skills I decided I'm going to engage more was organizational skills. I think the first class. Now, I want to ask you, say, here's my question. What tools or methods do you use to build your long-term plans and evaluate the achievement, knowing that, of course, I know one key thing in achievement is discipline, but what are some of the tools? Because one challenge I feel is sometimes I'll sit down, make the plan maybe to June, I'll make it on this sheet of paper or make it on this document, and then with activities and other pressure with deadlines before I realize, hey, I've skipped this one. Through that, I also use Google Calendar, but many times I have the challenges to be able to achieve some of these things that I plan to. So, what are some of these tools or methods so that it could really get life easy? Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's one thing about being in business and uh being a music professional is that if you are not careful, you can always find yourself in the challenge where you're always disorganized or you are not always catching up with your goals or with your task the way you would like to. And that happens to anybody. It has happened to me a lot. And that is why I've been able to build a good system around the work I do that enables me to be very productive, especially consistently, especially when you get to a stage where there is a lot to do, there is so much to do. Sometimes, if you're not careful, you miss out on a lot of things. And organization is one of those skills that, if you are serious about being productive and being effective, and not only being productive as in the word, but being productive in a way that you consistently produce results that trackable, results that when you look at, you can see that, oh, yesterday you were here, but because of the way you live your life and the way you execute, this is where you are today. For example, I always say that if you are truly productive, you can notice, we can find the result of your productivity in a couple of areas of your life. Number one is how consistent you are in achieving your goals. Number two is your financial life. Productivity has a direct effect in your financial life and an indirect effect. There is a way that you can be so productive that you may not see the financial benefits now, but you may see 2 years later. There are many people that they have not grown to a place where they can experience financial freedom or financial success because they are not productive in a way that their productivity can culminate into producing incredible results or incredible financial results, right? So how can you be very organized that it positively affects your productivity? Number one is have a clear vision. Have a clear vision. You need to have a vision. It could be a long-term life vision. It could be um, a yearly vision, a 2-year vision, a 5-year vision, a 10-year vision. Me, for example, I like to have my yearly vision, I like to have my 3 years vision, I like to have my 5 years vision, 10 years vision, and then my life vision. Because these are the things that you will use now to start organizing your months and your weeks, and of course, your years, sorry, your days, right? So that's why it's good to have a life plan. A life plan is not necessarily a long document of 20 pages. No, it can just be a one-page document with you documenting that, okay, based on my purpose, based on my passion, based on my destiny, based on what God wants me to do in my existence, these are the things I want to do. Let's say you're an entrepreneur. You want part of your life plan could be that as you phase out of this life at the age of 90, 100, whatever, or you just said before you phase out at a good old age, your goal is that you should have two companies that provide employment to 50,000 people and operating in 3 countries, and it's just part of the vision. Another vision could be that you are going to have a structured outreach program where you want to directly impact the lives of 1,000 young people in your community and help them go through school and get their university degrees. Whatever that means to you, you need to decide that. But deciding from the place of conviction, from the place of authenticity, and from the place of knowing that this is what God will want you to do with your life. Life vision now cannot help you now to start breaking it down to, it could be a 10-year subvision, a 5-year subvision, a 3-year subvision, even to a year subvision. Now, with a year subvision, now you now build up from there to now create what you now call your monthly goals and your weekly goals, and of course, your daily focus. And that brings me, you mentioned your calendar. There are so many tools that you can use them to put you in a place where you can be productive and hold yourself accountable, or be in a place where you have constant reminders of what to focus on. My greatest tool is actually my Google Calendar. Everything I'm going to do for today, for the whole of next week, for the whole of this month, for the whole of next month, even things I'm going to do in March 2024, November 2024, my calendar is already having that. And the calendar has places where you now put reminders based on how much you know myself. We know yourself, right? I know myself in terms of how I like to be reminded. Sometimes when you are putting a task on Google Calendar, there is a way you can set in a way that the calendar can remind you 2 weeks before, 10 days before, 3 days before, 2 minutes before, 2 minutes before. It depends on whatever you're doing. Sometimes I'll set something 1 year ahead, and I'll put the calendar to remind me 9 months before, 6 months before, 3 months before. So I know, because what you constantly see and what you are aware of, you will likely be in a position where you get to do it. So calendar is very important, and having your day and your week and your month framed out in a way you know what you're doing is very, very important for your organization. And when you do that, you have conquered a big part, productivity. You see, and you will now start operating from the place where you are the kind of person that start things and finish. You will never experience success if you are somebody who does not start things, or you are somebody who starts things and does not finish. Anybody with a life full of half projects or incomplete projects will never experience success. So one thing that organization should do to you as a professional, should do to you as an entrepreneur, is that it should increase your productivity and should increase your ability of starting important projects in your life and actually completing them. You see that? And this is very important piece when it comes to experiencing financial success. You know, when they talk about financial success, people think a lot about money only, but money is just the outcome of the quality of life you live. Money is just a product. The same as poverty is a product. Your life cannot be disorganized, less productive, lack of self-discipline, full of half projects or not projects, procrastination, and you expect to be financially successful. It is totally impossible, because these are the foundation that will enable you to build that money-making system that will enable you to become successful. And this goes the same for career success, for community impact, for destiny impact, for purpose manifestation, and all that you can think of. Right? For example, these are my books that I've published. For example, these books will not just fall out of nowhere. No way. These are products of organized lifestyle, consistent productivity, self-discipline, and all of these things I have mentioned that when you do them on a daily basis, they now culminate into a finished product. People can now look, or you can now look and say, this is success. So get your life organized. And that's one of the first course that you took in this program was on the fundamentals of business management. And I was talking about the core skills that every entrepreneur needs to succeed. And one of the core skills is that organizational skills. It will come the same into your daily life. There are some people, if you see their table, their work table at home like this is full of everything scattered everywhere. When I say a disorganized person, you see in their life, you see how they dress, how they look, you see their houses, you will naturally see those things there because it is a culture. It's an attitude. It's a lifestyle, right? So if you are struggling to get in a certain level of success, one area of your life I would like you to pay attention to is the quality of your organization skills. I hope I answered your question. I know I went a bit deeper, but this is a very important topic, and I felt to explain more and give more key points. All right, another question? You can speak up or you can leave your question in the chat box. And this is probably the one and only time that we are going to have this session for question and answers. All right, so ask them now. And please don't come to WhatsApp and ask me because I'll barely have time to reply to WhatsApp. We're supposed to have 2 or 3 of these, but I'm traveling too much. I'm very busy. I barely have time for myself. So ask your questions now so that we can cut it up and sort it out. All right, I see 2 hands from Stacy and Godwill. All right, let's get to Stacy. Yes, Stacy, go ahead.
Thank you for this series of questions. But let me start with the first. As a business consultant, how do you handle situations where maybe you proposed a solution to a business owner and he or she tried it and it's not work out? How do you handle that sort of situation?
Okay, that is actually normal to happen because, and that can be a product of many things. Number one, maybe the client did not give you full information or full data that you need to design the best strategy. Or number two, maybe the market dynamics have changed. Like for example, when COVID-19 came in 2020, we designed a lot of marketing strategies and business strategies for different clients, but we did not anticipate that there will be COVID-19 next year. It's the same like this is December. I'm advising clients, I'm advising people on what to do with their companies to become better by next month, right? Next month, January 2024. But if there is an emergency that nobody saw it coming, it's going to definitely alter the way people do business. And there are certain strategies that will not work. So many a times, you can design a strategy that will not produce the results that you desire. You are not perfect. Of course, you should be good at your game. Personally, for me, it's just very few times, especially in terms of an emergency or global disaster like what happened, that you need to do your work well as an expert consultant to make sure that you design the right strategies that work. But many times there are certain things that are just out of your hands, and there is nothing wrong going back to the drawing board to redesign a better strategy with the feedback you have from the first strategy and re-implement until you see better results. Nothing wrong with that. So you just need to go back to the client. Go find out, what did you miss out? What are the gaps that you missed out when you were doing your research, your due diligence before you design a strategy? Go ask questions. Look at the first strategy you recommended. What went wrong? What went right? And focus on what went wrong. Why did it go wrong? Is there data?
Okay.
Is there information that they did not give you that made you to miss out something on that business that made it to go wrong? Sometimes you may just notice that, oh, the business does not have enough money to execute the strategy you're looking for. You may just notice that, oh, the business does not have enough staff to get it done. Or you may notice that the staff in that company, they do not have the capacity and the skill set to actually implement your strategy. So there are many things that can happen, but just go back to the drawing board, do proper research, redesign, go back, implement, and you get it right. Yes, second question.
All right. Please, can you elaborate more on the differences between marketing and sales? I am a little bit confused with that.
Okay. Let me say it this way. Marketing is how people know that you exist. Sales is what you do for people to give you money. For example, there are many of you here that you are here because you follow me on social media, and you heard about the mini MBA program because I posted on social media. I marketed on social media. So me sitting down at home or in the office, creating that content, writing the copywriting, designing the flyer and all of that, those are part of marketing activities. And then I posted on a channel known as Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, and you saw it. That whole process is marketing. Any action that you take to make people to see and know you that you exist is marketing. Now, sales is when somebody sees your product on a marketing channel and they reach out to you and they are interested. That's when somebody becomes a lead. Now, you need to convert a lead into a paying customer. So if you reach out to me and say, hi, I would like to register for the mini MBA program, or I want to find out more information about the mini MBA program. Whatever I start saying from there is now sales. Anything I do to convince you, to persuade you, to influence you, to believe in the program that I'm selling to you and remove money and pay for the program, that is sales. So marketing is, how do people know that you exist? You go on radio, TV, you print flyers, you do social media posts, marketing, art, and all of that, that is marketing. But when people now start coming and they're coming to even pay, it's sales. Because somebody can come to pay, they are coming and they're already willing to pay. And the way you welcome them, customer service is part of sales. Because somebody can enter a restaurant to eat, they are willing to eat, they are hungry. But bad customer service can push the person away not to eat. So sales did not happen properly because bad customer service pushed the person away. So anything that you do to convince or influence or inform somebody to pay for your service or to pay for your product, it's sales. You see, so that is the difference. So you need to do marketing so you can do sales. That is why if you see any business struggling with sales, most of the time, marketing is the challenge, because you need to do marketing to generate leads so people can come to the business and find out more information so that you can convert them to paying customers through the various sales actions that you have in place for that to happen. So that is the difference between marketing and sales. All right. Let's get to God will. God will, your hand is down. No question again? Any other
All right,
question?
sir. Thank you for.
Yes, God will, go ahead.
All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you once more for the opportunity to ask my own question. I just want to say, seriously, this program is really transforming and life-changing. I've been going through the modules, and a lot of things have been changing in my life and in my daily activities too. But there's this one worry I have. It's something that I was just keeping it to ask during this session. I'm trying every day to improve on my work towards achieving my goals. And I just wish to find out from you what are some of the, because writing every day something that can be of use to me as far as my activities are concerned and as far as my business ideas are concerned. I just want to find out what are some of the means, or what are some of the tools that can really help me to be able to design some like to write design contents and some stories about my business. And because I discover, just thinking about everything that I want to do from my mind to write it down, at times I find it so limited, and I think uh, I just need to know if there are some tools that can help to go through this stage.
Okay. Well, it is simple. When it comes to creating content, your question is basically about creating content for your business on social media, right? That's what your question is all about, in summary. You know, this is one thing that you don't need to overthink about it, because the content ideas and the content is actually around you. You're creating content about your value, about your products, about your services, about your interaction with customers, about the feedback you're getting from customers. Your goal is just to take what is happening around you and in your business and communicating it in a way that it's compelling, it's inspiring, and can influence anybody who is reading to desire to do business with you. As simple as that. For example, if after this, I want to add content, could just say, oh, I had an amazing session with the current batch of executives attending the business, the mini MBA program. And we had an incredible interacting session and very intelligent questions were asked. And this is one of the questions that stood out for me. This is what the entrepreneur asked, and these were my thoughts as far as what they asked is concerned. It's content. So content is any relevant information. It could be fun, it could be entertaining, it could be informal, it could be formal, it could be relevant, but thing that can influence people to know more about your business, the work you do, that is content. Maybe the idea here can be that you are not good at writing, then you need to learn how to write. There are people that have ideas, but they don't know how to write it. For some people, it's lack of vocabulary. They are not so good. The quality of their English language is not so good that they can effortlessly write. Maybe they need to start reading a lot of materials and practicing how to write, because you become a good writer by writing. You learn how to write by writing more often, right? And it is a skill. And a skill means that it is learnable. Okay, so you can start training yourself to write. Nobody writes perfect. Even me, I don't write perfect. See, today, I still write and I still make mistakes in my grammar structure or in certain spellings and all of that. Nobody's perfect. So that's one thing I want to start by saying. Don't try to be super perfect. There's even the best writers in the world still make certain mistakes in language when writing. But your goal is train yourself. Train yourself to a place where you can comfortably write. And you do that by writing. Okay? So learn how to also use pictures or videos around your business and what you do in order to make sure that your writing is accompanied by pictures that paint a story that can influence people to see what you do and desire to buy from you or recommend the service or the business that you do as a person. Okay, so as far as content ideas are concerned, focus on what is happening around you in your business, with your customers, with your suppliers, in the environment, wherever you are. And the goal now should be, how can you convert that into a compelling written paragraph or 2 paragraphs that somebody can read, understand, get informed, or get entertained, and of course, engage with that content or engage with you in the future because of the kind of content that you create as a business person. Good? Does that answer your question? And what God will? I see we have 2 God wills. Talking about what God will. Does that answer your question? All right, let me try to answer this question from Cecile. I didn't understand the public relations framework and how a startup can apply it in his or her business from the beginning. Now, let me start by asking, do you know what public relations is? Let me start from there. Do you know what public relations is? Cecile, are you there? Can you tell me? Just type a yes. Do you know what public relations is? Basically, public relations is how a business relates with the public. Right? This is well defined in the course. So you just need to go through the course again and have a clearer understanding. How do we relate with the public? Because there's no business that operates as an island. But if you own a startup and you own a business, you need to be aware that there is a way that you relate with the general public. There is a way that you disseminate information with the general public. There is a way that when the public reacts with your business, there is a way you react back based on those reactions. Now, the public relation framework, which can differ from business to business, but the framework I shared in that course is the one that you can take and you can implement, or you can modify where you feel you want to modify to fit your business and begin to use it. But a public relation framework just means that we have a structure as a business, as an entrepreneur. We have a structure of how we relate with the public regarding our business. For example, let me pick an example of a practical business. Kendria has a business idea. And let's say that she plans to launch this her healthcare business by March 2024. Part of her framework of public relations can be, one, I am going to reach out to the top 5 internet online news platforms in the city of London. Are you in London? Which city are you? Andrea, which city are you? Just type, let me see. Right, let's assume London, but I know she's in the UK, right? So her framework could be for us to inform the public. Remember, public relations is how you relate with the public and how you disseminate information. She now designed her framework. So, as a startup that we are launching, we need to be very serious about our public relations. Therefore, our framework will include the following. Number one, we're going to identify top 5 respected online news platforms and meet them and ask questions on press releases. Do they charge for a press release? If yes, how much and how long does it run? Then we are going to write an official press release to the general public of Cambridge, announcing to them that there is a new healthcare company in the community. She now does that. And if she is not sure that she has the right skills to draft a compelling public relation notice, she can now hire a PR expert who is good at writing public relation notices. A second framework could be, you know what? We think that churches are very influential and they have a good number of people. We are going to target 5 top public churches and most popular churches in this city, meet the pastors and their media team, and find out what it takes for them to read our press release in their congregations or in their church newsletters. You see, it's all about having a structure and a system that your business can disseminate information to the public, and most importantly, how your business can also react when there is certain news about the business in public. For example, if somebody goes on their Facebook page and type that this and this business is the worst business in Douala, Cameroon, or in Lagos, Nigeria, is somebody in the public reacting about your business? Do you have a framework in place to react back as far as PR is concerned to a comment like that on Facebook? That's public relations. So you consciously create a system to do that. So I hope that helps you, Cecile. Okay, throw more light on the freeze, flight, found, and fight. I think you should ask a more specific question, Roslyn. You're asking there's a whole video on this. Which part of this business strategy don't you understand? Because if I want to explain all of this, it's going to take us long and we have just 15 minutes to round up. Okay, so is there a particular part with this business strategy you don't understand in particular? Right? So the freeze has its meaning, and in the video it explains why people choose the freeze. The flight, there's a meaning, and why people choose the flight. The found, and of course the fight is there. So that's a more particular question that I will be able to answer easily and not take a lot of time. Question 1, is there a standard to measure customer acquisition cost? That is to say whether or not it is high or low. Yes, there is a standard, and there's a formula in the video on how to measure customer acquisition cost. Because if you don't know how much it costs you to acquire customers, you will not really, the calculation of your profitability will not really be genuine. So you need to know how much on average does it cost, or do we spend to acquire one customer? Let's say you're marketing on Facebook. What is the customer acquisition cost of marketing on Facebook? And let's say you're using another channel of flyers, sharing flyers on the street or in public areas. What is the customer acquisition of acquiring a customer by sharing flyers on the street? And now between the Facebook process and the street process, which cost is more expensive? And of course, it's not just about looking at the cost, it's also about looking at which one is also effective and bringing more profit. Okay, so you need to calculate, know which one is high, which one is low, and most importantly, which one is actually enabling you to acquire the customers into your business. If the sales and marketing overhead is the total cost incurred in marketing a company's service or product, will it not be double counting, including in the calculation of the customer acquisition cost, since the marketing costs? What's the S stand for? S stands for many things in business, or the individual indices. Now, but I get your question. Now, the point is, in this business structure, so you're thinking like a typical economist, I guess, right? But in calculating when it comes to profit and loss in general, to be able to have the right profitability, it is important to break down every action that you take, even though those actions can fall under promotional actions or whatever, but promotional action costs different and produces different results, and sometimes in different seasons, and there are different variables that are in play as far as a particular promotional strategy is concerned. So the goal is to know more about each promotional platform or strategy so you can know what to improve, what to remove, and what to add, or what to add, what to subtract, or what to innovate. Okay, so that it is, for example, if let me use sharing a flyer for example. You know that if you share flyers on the streets and you share flyers in an event in a stadium, it's all sharing flyers. But in business, it's not wise to combine all the two as promotion. They are all promotion, yes, but record them separately because the cost will be different. Sometimes you may need to pay to get into a stadium to get access to a particular class of people are probably the right target market for your product than just sharing aimlessly on the street and hoping that the person that takes your flyer will actually be a potential customer. You see, that is why it becomes now important to break it down, but it's not double counting. It is just making sure that, of course, if you're doing that, you no longer go and double everything and calculate as promotion. Since you have separated them, there's no longer a total group calculation of promotion. But the goal is beyond just a calculation. The purpose is to enhance strategy at the end. The purpose is to decide which strategy to eliminate, which one to keep, and which one to improve. The purpose is to find data and understand throughout January to December which one is good at what particular time as far as our business is concerned. So there's a lot more in that you get from calculating customer acquisition cost than just the number. Right. Let me see. I see one hand up and coming to you. How can I own an account that can help me pay programs and purchase things like on Amazon and Seller? Well, for Seller, it's totally free. Just go and create the account. It's totally free. You don't need, just go to seller.co and create the account and link to your mobile money, and you can start doing that. For Amazon, the challenge with Amazon is not really owning an account on Amazon, because if you have an account in any bank in Cameroon and they give you the account and all of that, you can purchase on Amazon. But the challenge with Amazon is they don't deliver in Cameroon, except you would like to order on Amazon, they ship to somebody in the US and Canada or in Europe, and then the person finds a way to send it to Cameroon. That can be double cost also, except you want to buy audio books and ebooks, which you can read online. There's another way you can use Amazon. So I think that's not really a business question, but I hope that helps you. Another question? Yes, Ben Rollins, go ahead. Another question?
Okay, thank you. I was trying to unmute myself. Yeah, thank you so much again. Now, will I say 3 questions, but I have 2 particular ones added. The first one was, the first one is actually, there is this part amongst the things that I've been reporting in my assignment. There's this part of my vision which I'm planning to know. There's actually a lack. It's out of a need, so it's still an idea, but I'm building it. There's actually a lack of like, will I say, an association of surveyors where we'll be able to discuss challenges, about maybe bring up new ideas about opportunities. A kind of, will I say, an association, a national association. There's actually a lack of this, so such that professionals are unable to go correctly, write information. Even now with the rise of AI, all of these discussions, there's no guidance. But now, having done some research about associations and also being here in the UK, I see how it works well. Like most of the time, it has to be non-profit, and it's a bit difficult to raise money. And thank God for the organized systems where it's possible for them to be able to engage maybe subgroups or companies to contribute and so. But now coming to a case of Cameroon with all the organization and me looking at how it's going to work, yeah, the need is there, but I see the challenges a lot to be able to establish that. But I'm still building this. But from your experience with professional association being specific group of persons, not like general professionals, what are some of these things now that which I have to really burn or I have to really do for that to be sustainable? Because I'm still building on this and I want it to be successful. Yeah, I don't know if the question is clear.
Yeah, I understand. Now, you see, forming associations depends a lot on what you want to achieve with the associations as a person. But there are associations that can be non-profit, which is community-centered. You don't want to own it. You're doing it for the community and all of that. There's that part of association, non-profit, all of those things. But there's also another type of professional associations or professional communities that you can form it and own it. But you bring people together and they join that. There are so many profitable worldwide associations that are owned by individuals and they are very profitable and they make a lot of money.
Okay.
Their business model is subscription model, where you form the association, you create good value, you create good system, you create good structures in it, and you now create a payment system where people pay an annual fee or a 2-year fee or how much fee to be part of that community. It still works like that. So, but the goal of every association that keeps people around is the value that they get from the association. You understand? So, if an association is valuable and that can enable people to gain access or to become more successful, they will actually pay to be part of it, or they will like to be part of it. So, you need to decide, are you trying to create a community association for the public, or you're trying to build an association with goals and mission and objectives, but you own it and it is profitable. But this is a good idea that can become both impact driven and profit oriented at the same time. Right? So you just need to decide that and then decide what kind of structure will you have in place that makes the association or the community so valuable that people see the need to belong, or people see the need to belong and to pay to be part of that community. Now, that is what you need to focus on, because any association or community that is valuable, people, for example, I have a WhatsApp group. Now people pay 100,000 francs to be in it every year. The goal is like an inner community where I teach insightful things that you will hardly see them in public. And people happily pay, and I'm the one who refuse people not to join every year because I don't want a large community per se. Because it is a valuable community. It is a relevant community. The content they get, the ideas, the teachings, sometimes the opportunities, and all of these things, they see that, oh, this is something I really want to belong. So if you're creating that, you now first of all need to decide, what is the purpose? Is it for the public? Or it's a community that you want to create, own, and lead? After that, you now decide, what is the value that I will create around this association or community that it will be so irresistible that people cannot ignore. They will like to be part of it, either as a free association or as a paid association. You determine that. Another
Thank you
question?
so much. Yeah, I said I had to, sorry, I did not follow with the next one.
Yes, go
Anyway,
ahead.
I'll just subtract the last one then, because to manage time. I'll then say the second one. Now, there is a game player now in many industries, especially in the IT field, and when it comes to content, which is artificial intelligence, and that I've really been looking and I'm doing some studies to it. But I want to get your perception, because for those who work around the content, maybe data, when I talk of content, like it really influence their work. Maybe but for those who work with tools, materials, equipment, it may not directly, but it may not, according to what I've seen so far. But what's your play of, especially for those who want to influence the market, what should we be standing out as business persons when it comes to AI? What's your view to that, artificial intelligence? Yeah.
My first view to AI is that it's going to disrupt every sector. Whether you're an equipment person or not, it's going to disrupt every sector. From 2024, I can bet, even it's already happening. All the equipments that anybody will use in any industry, they are partly designed by AI. Right? If anybody who buys a phone of 2024 that is really a new phone, the AI capabilities of that phone will be crazy for you. You see? So any equipment that is digital, that has any component that is digital, AI will be influencing it. You understand? Even things like this mic, there's a component of AI embedded into the microphone. Computers, everything around us is AI driven. Now, the little challenge that many of us who are in Africa we can flip up is that we will feel that this is happening just in the developed world, but this is coming at a very fast pace, even in the African setting. So if you are going to be on the safe side, you need to make sure that you are informed and aware of how AI is going to disrupt your industry and the work that you do. Why? In business, AI on its own will not eliminate you, but companies that know how to use AI will eliminate companies who are ignorant of AI. Now, it is the same for those who are workers, employees. Companies now will be hiring more people who have knowledge of AI usage and sacking people that are ignorant of AI. So AI will not replace you at your work, but an employee who knows how to use AI will take your job away from you, and you will now see one employee, or you will now see a job that 3 people could do. One person will do it, and AI will do 80% of the job, and the person just do whatever they need to do. So the way out is be informed about AI. Know as much as you can about AI. Do research. Ask yourself, how is AI disrupting my industry now? And how will AI disrupt my industry in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years? Find books in that area and begin to read. When I wrote a book about the future of work in Africa in 2020, and I was talking about how technology is going to be disrupting Africa, many people did not see what I was trying to talk about. AI is everywhere around us. For example, on Zoom right now, there's an AI component on Zoom that's summarizing all the meeting points. Everything I'm saying right now, AI is going to summarize it into key points and email to me. All your questions that you ask, AI is going to summarize it and email to me. And what is going to happen? It's this, I don't know if I can even share my screen and you see what I'm talking about. Let me see the best way to share so that I show you. But if you have Zoom, you'll see that there's a new component on Zoom known as AI Companion. You see, so you need to know how you can use that, and AI can help you to do that. So whether you like it or not, AI is going to disrupt every single one of us. Every single one of us. Whether now, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, but it is happening faster than how experts actually anticipated. So your goal is be open-minded, be willing to unlearn and relearn and all of that. There's now a new phone known as Humane. You just put on your chest. You want to call somebody, you put your hand like this, it appears on your phone. You just tell the person, please call my wife or call my husband, and it calls for you. With that phone, you go sit on a table to eat in a restaurant. As you pick up the menu, it looks for you and tell you, oh, based on the fufu that you ate yesterday, I would recommend that you eat the rice today. Or based on your doctor's report, this food is not good for you. You see, it's everywhere around us. There are cars now that can anticipate an accident while you're inside. Toyota cars, Mercedes cars. They can tell you, oh, based on the way some people are driving, based on their driving patterns, this person will cause an accident. You see, so it's everywhere. It's everywhere around us. But the goal is, how can you use it? We are the humans. AI is a machine. Machines are meant for humans to use it. But if a human is ignorant and unaware and not willing to learn and unlearn, a lot is going to happen. But one of the biggest challenges I'm seeing is that this is AI coming to act as a big layer on already existing technology that many people don't even know how to use. There are many people listen to me, they don't know how to use Facebook very well. They don't know how to use LinkedIn very well. They don't even know how to use WhatsApp properly very, very well. You see? So apart from that, they're not even complete experts in their industry. The quality of their knowledge, the quality of their mental intelligence, their awareness, industry insight is very minimal. So that is adding on another layer that what they even have access to, they have not explored it to the highest, and they're not able to use it so well. So AI may come that has the possibility of helping somebody beat poverty, but since they have a poverty mindset and they don't have the right mental intelligence to even make good use of what is already available, they will never know how to use AI to produce more, create more value, get paid more, and come out of poverty. So my advice to everybody here is, if you have never really been somebody who really, studies, research, somebody who is not really committed. If you are here and you can spend 24 hours every day and you don't sit to just read a book or even go through a 1-hour teaching session like this every day, I have pity for you. You are just managing. And there's a lot in the society that will pass you by, and you will end up struggling both career-wise, destiny-wise, financially, living hand to mouth, year in, year out. Meanwhile, we are in a dispensation where it is much easier now to become successful and become rich than it used to be 50 years ago. But as long as there is that ignorance and there is that laxity and less commitment, despite that there's more prosperity now, we're still going to have more people wallowing in poverty. So if there's one challenge I'm giving to you as we round up is step up your game. Step up your game when it comes to acquiring wisdom. Step up your game when it comes to having understanding of industry insight. Step up your game when it comes to understanding what is really happening in the economy of Cameroon and Africa and the world at large. Step up your game in terms of identifying opportunities and making good use of those opportunities. Step up your game in the way you think and the way you look life and in the way you relate with people. Step up your game in the way in the kind of friends that you keep and the kind of communities that you find yourself in. Step up your game when it comes to procrastination and laziness and a life that is full of less commitment. Because If these things are still controlling your life in a negative way, tomorrow, the people that know how to do these things will control you, they will rule over you, and you remain poor, struggling, and a life of less impact. I know that, I always say that before you blame your government, make sure that you operate from a higher dimension. It is double disaster to blame the government, meanwhile your life is so terrible. That's double disaster. But you are better off if you take responsibility for your life and you have certain things sorted out before you are holding somebody accountable for what they should do. It's going to help you better. All right, everybody? I hope that helped you guys. I have another meeting to catch up with. But for those who did not ask questions, thank you so much for being quiet and for being active participants and only listening. People like Pierrette, people like God Will Thankful, people like who else? No, everybody else asked a question. All right, and I hope that this was very, very worthwhile. I hope it challenged you, it inspired you, and it contributed something little in the work that you do. And I want you to know this and know this very well. You can become more. You can become incredibly, incredibly more at what you do. Am I saying that's going to be easy? No. But what I am saying is that if we can make up our minds that no matter the challenges that we face, no matter the difficulties that we face, we have made up our mind that we are going to keep pushing forward. Anybody who operates from that dimension always end up winning, no matter what. All right? So keep doing that, keep pushing forward, and be reminded that on the 20th, that's 4 days from today, we're having our business wars, right? Business wars is very important. Fully participate in it and make sure that one goal of the business wars is to teach you how to carry out research and how to do due diligence and how to present your findings. So actively do that and train yourself, because in the business world, there's no way you can shine in business if you don't know how to do research, due diligence, and how to design strategies and how to present those strategies in a compelling way and be able to match up a discussion. All right, guys, take care of yourself. Keep building those dreams, keep building those businesses. You never know tomorrow that your small idea could be a 10,000 employer tomorrow, and of course, helping a lot of people. All right, cheers, take care.